Fantastic. And we're live. My guest, Umutoni Thuku-Benzinge, is coming all the way from Nairobi in Kenya. And I am in the less exotic parts of West London, right here in the UK. So, Umu, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be on the show today.
Terrific. So, Umutoni Thuku-Benzinge is a woman on a mission. The twin missions to grow her fashion brand Kaleidoscope Beauty, and that to enfranchise the disenfranchised. The Londoner of Rwandese origin founded Kaleidoscope as a brand to showcase the beauty of Africa through contemporary handcrafted statement jewellery that's ethically sourced. She positions her business to give back to her roots by empowering the disenfranchised back home, but more of that later. She's turned heads and made waves. Kaleidoscope has received coverage on the BBC and on Forbes and Essence magazines. Umu has been a guest panellist and speaker at the University of Cambridge. So what makes her tick? Tete-a Tet is keen to know how she's risen above the challenges facing an African woman entrepreneur to develop an international brand. Well, there's your introduction, Umu.
What an introduction.
And obviously the first question has to be, what were you doing before Kaleidoscope Beauty?
Great question. So prior to Kaleidoscope Beauty, my degree was in economics, but my job was within the IT industry. So I worked initially within sales, business development, and then went more onto like the account management, partner success side of things.
So then, after a while, you kind of obviously gave that up. What gave you the idea to start the business you're in now? And what indeed is Kaleidoscope Beauty? I know you've been a beauty queen as well, so don't miss that out.
I have. So there's so many elements that kind of inspired me to launch the business. So yes, let's start on the pageant that I was a part of. So in 2014, I was crowned Miss Scuba Kenya, which was a pageant that was all about showcasing marine conservation. So there was a scuba diving element in there. I was the only African participant at the time, so it was a great pleasure. And
Kenya's a huge.
Asians, there was lots of Americans, Canadians, etc. So what that experience showed me is, number one, the international finals were in Malaysia, which is a part of the world that I hadn't been to. So I was like, wow, beauty can take you across the world. And number two, the fact that it was to do with marine conservation just really also emphasized the part that beauty can have a purpose that is beyond just the artificial or the surface level, and that it can be used to push forward a greater agenda.
Right.
So that is the first part that really inspired me. And then in addition to that, when I was 15, 16, I've always loved Kenya. I used to come like during my summer holidays, primary school, secondary school. I was a child that left school just before summer holidays and came back just before terms just after terms started.
Got it. Because your dad is Rwandese and your mum is Kenyan, right?
Exactly. Okay. So I would say I'm a young East African girl. So I used to actually go and get souvenirs for friends and family. And it got to a point where friends or family actually started asking for additional pieces. And it got to a point where actually my pocket couldn't finance all of these gifts. So I asked the question, would you buy these? And the answer was yes. So I had my lovely Auntie Angie, who's actually with me today, and we're doing a few rounds later today. And what we did, we went to the Maasai market and we purchased a few items, went back to London, sold them. I remember there was one time, I think it was a church fair, where I was selling these items. I remember making £100 profit in one day when I was 15, 16. And that was very exciting. I mean, I don't think I spent it on, I wonder what I did spend it on. I know lip glosses, things like that. But again, that was like a light bulb moment for me, because again, it showed that, wow, number one, there is demand. And number two, that it's quite like an organic route for me, because it's where I was spending my summer holidays, take things for fun, but then making money in the process.
So that got you into the idea of retail. Now, what is Kaleidoscope Beauty. I mean, what the first thing is, what product range do you specialize in?
So Kaleidoscope Beauty as a brand is all about showcasing the beauty of Africa, and that's where the term kaleidoscope comes from. So yes, we are selling jewelry. So that ranges from men. We do have men's and women's jewelry, necklaces, earrings. The latest range is a bit more contemporary. So this piece I'm wearing here, which is a
Right.
necklace. We've got some earrings. I've got a few rings.
That's
And
really
then,
exciting, that one, actually, Umu. Look, I'm liking that. That ring is, I'll get one at a time. And
yes,
look at that necklace
exactly.
you've got. I mean, on one side, you've got a bar, and then
Yes,
on the other side, you have got a circle. Is that a
exactly.
stone you've got in there, or
So
is it all metal?
another great question. So the metal is brass, but the stones are made from
Right.
cow horn. Um,
Okay.
and then we also just have, yeah, a few other pieces. So this is something that will be coming, I think, more spring, summer. It's like a beaded belt bag. I like to hang this on my neck,
Okay.
put my phone in, debit card, and kind of
Got
just.
it.
So we have a
Got it.
number of different products, typically made from brass, beads. There's some leather pieces as well,
Right.
and just kind of bring a contemporary twist to some very classic, traditional African
African
design.
themes.
Yeah.
Okay. So where is this stuff manufactured, and who makes them? Are these all artisanally made in Kenya?
Yes, all of our pieces are made in Kenya,
Right.
various different locations, but mainly Kibera, and
Hmm.
Babandogo. So when I initially started, my initial artisans were from Babandogo, which is a slum in Kenya on the fringes of
It's a
Nairobi.
slum.
It's a
Yeah.
slum, exactly. So that's
Right.
the part that's all about the
Giving back.
philanthropy and empowering disenfranchised.
Mm.
I was actually on a webinar during this trip. So I leave in like just over a week, and I'll have been here for 2 months. But
Right.
towards the beginning of this trip, I joined a webinar where the apologies, where
No,
the
don't fall.
where the challenge that a lot of the artisans have is reaching the international markets. And in addition to that,
Got
we're
it.
in the middle of a global pandemic. It's affected everyone. So even the little tourism that there was is very limited
Gone.
at the moment.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Completely gone.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm very keen to kind of partner with these artisans, understand their needs, their communities, and how we can help and work together, and then help them reach those international markets, but do it together in a way that's a lot more sustainable as well. So there is an aspect
Sure.
of sustainability.
Sure. 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 So what about the skills involved in making that metalwork, the stonework, the horn? Who does the design? Is that your side, or do the artisans do the design as well?
So it's a combination. There are some pieces, especially when I'm starting out with a new artisan, I like to see the kind of stuff that they have. I like to
Right.
test the quality, wear it myself. But
Hmm.
then as we grow our relationship and have new collections, new designs, it is a combination. So I have a sketchbook, and I will typically kind of send designs. So there was an item last year that was drawn from scratch. I wish I could show you the picture. It was literally drawn on my
Right.
iPhone. But it was
Right.
taken a classic Maasai belt, so which is a leather
Hmm.
belt with beading, and then just
Hmm.
added a little bag onto it. And that was like a summer festival season, a bit like the classic like fanny packs,
Got it.
but
Got it.
with an African twist. And nobody has things like that, you know?
Yeah,
So
it's very distinctive.
it was very distinctive, very popular. And again, it sold out. So that is something I literally had sketched on my phone. Yeah, quite funny
So,
how these things
okay.
just come to life.
So, I mean, with the business of reaching the international market, how big is your business now? I mean, what territories are you selling to?
So great question. I would say the biggest territory that we do have is the US. The US just
Really?
loves all of the pieces, the designs. I'd say
Mm.
top three locations are New York,
Hmm.
California, LA, and Miami. And I think for a number of reasons. So especially LA and Miami, because they're very hot. I think a lot of our pieces, especially from the first
Yeah,
collection, were summer pieces.
sure.
I had huge
Mm.
like
Mm.
chokers, brass
Mm.
chokers,
Mm.
which
Mm.
in the winter can be worn, and but it would have to
Mm.
be like on top of a turtleneck or something like that.
Sure, 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 sure.
Yeah,
That's a long way off. I mean,
yeah.
Kenya and America and California, it's like the two ends of the world. how do you ship? I mean, do you fly the stuff out there? And I mean, how does the economics of the business stack up? Is it expensive?
So I found, well, I'm still in the process of trying to streamline the process a lot more. But what we do is I keep a lot of my stock in the UK because there's
Right.
the value add, right? So I love to like make sure the packaging is amazing. There's a
Mm,
ribbon, there's a handwritten card, there's a
mm.
QR code that has our mission video as well.
Right,
And
right.
yeah, that just really kind of adds to the value. And then I can ship from anywhere. In London, you can literally ship.
Sure,
I've had
sure,
customers in the US, I've had some in Brazil,
sure.
I've had some throughout Europe. I had a wholesale order from Switzerland. So literally the demand
Oh,
has just been amazing and just
fantastic. Tell
yeah,
me. Now, Umu, I'm a design nerd. Okay, I'm just an aesthete. I love things that look nice.
yes, me
Um,
too.
how do you package your products?
Great question. So typically we will have like let's use this necklace for example. So this would
Okay,
come like in a black cardboard box, and then
right,
there's the sponge with a
hmm,
velvet layer on the top. So like
right,
just the typical jewelry boxes, and then that
hmm,
would be covered with black tissue, and then it's
hmm,
sealed with a sticker that has a Kaleidoscope Beauty ribbon, and then there's a
right,
handwritten card in there that just says thank you for shopping with us. Together we're empowering
right,
disenfranchised.
right.
Then the box is sealed with sealed with a ribbon that's tied really nicely, and then it
So
would
the
be put on.
presentation's there.
It is definitely there. I mean, I think even part of the business is all about like changing the narrative. So I don't want to just send things in a tacky way. It needs to be presented well because I that's my impression of the continent in general, and just want to
Right.
make sure that comes across through the business and
Okay.
every aspect of it.
Okay. Okay. So let's just go back to when you actually stopped being an economist, working in IT, and so on. When did you decide to jump ship? When did you go full time with this business? And, what drove you to do that?
So I actually went full time on the business this year. So that was in May, in the
Hmm.
middle of the pandemic, which was very
Right.
interesting. But what happened is that at work, there were a number of different packages being offered. And for
Hmm.
me, I'd got to a place where I launched the business in December 2018. So I was
Right.
doing it as a side hustle initial just to test out if,
The market.
the market, what the demand is, what the processes are. And I was also in the process of getting my own property. So it's easier to get your first property and mortgage when you have a full-time role.
Sure. Sure.
So I did that towards the end of last year. And so when this opportunity presented itself for me to go full-time with the business, I kind of
Mm.
jumped at it because it came with a pay package, which would kind of sort me out financially for a couple of months because now I have a mortgage to pay and a number of other
Hmm.
requirements.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got responsibilities. Yeah.
Exactly. But I think also just having the backing from a lot of the like media articles that have been released, the business, some of the sales that we've had, the markets that I've been able to gain access to while doing it on the side really gave me the confidence
Right.
to want to take that plunge and that leap.
That there was a future in this thing. Okay.
Definitely,
So
definitely.
now, I mean, you're a woman entrepreneur.
Mhm.
Africa isn't known for being kind and courteous to women who strike out on their own, even though any African man will tell you that without their mother, their family would never have been what it is today. But nevertheless, women who strike out on their own
Yeah.
meet a lot of obstacles. What are the top three challenges you've met anywhere, and how did you overcome them? Top three.
Top three. Okay, so my first one I'd say is quality control. So just trying to get the consistency
Right,
with the jewelry, the pieces that I have, especially given some of the communities I work with. Sometimes it's not like a standardized process. Somebody
right,
could make, like, say, one of these beaded
right.
pouches. It could be done in somebody's living room. It could be
Sure.
done with the help of a
Yeah.
son, a daughter. So really
Right.
standardizing the
Very
process
real.
and quality control is very
Mm,
important because say I have a product, I have a photo
right.
shoot and I put that on the website and I sell that product,
Right.
I need to make sure that that is the product I provide to
Right.
my customers, you know? So I would say number one,
Absolutely.
that is
Absolutely.
that was the biggest challenge. Second one,
Quality control.
quality control. Second, I would say finance. Finance has definitely been a challenge,
Yeah.
but something
Yeah.
that I found, I think, and a lot of you'll find with a lot of entrepreneurs is that they're just super resourceful. You have to, like, I built my own website. I've done as much as I can as possible. I run my own social
Yourself.
media. So you have to just,
Right.
and if I do come across a problem, I'll try and ask as many people as possible. Google is always there
Right.
as well. There are a number of books and resources
Right.
to help with that as well.
Right. 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 Okay. So there's quality control. By the way, going back to quality control, you live in London, or you're going to
Yeah,
be spending the majority of your time in London. The
yeah,
goods are manufactured very far away by
yes,
people whose circumstances, bless them, are different to yours and mine.
yeah.
So how do you stay on top of that? Do you have a local agent? Do you have somebody who deals with that, or what?
Yeah, so that was actually one of the main reasons for me taking this trip
Right.
right now, was to try and find somebody that I trust, somebody that I know has a good eye, somebody I know who can have those conversations, whether it's somebody who needs to
Standards.
speak
Yeah.
Swahili, whether it's English, whether it's,
Hmm.
helping with stuff like that. So yes, I have
Right.
a wonderful person that I have sourced who is going to be helping with that process, who I'm confident, we can maintain
Right.
the communication, who I know will be on top
Right.
of everything, even when I'm not physically in the country.
Okay. Okay. Now, I mean, the way I set up the question was almost like a gender
Everyone,
challenge
yes,
issue. I
let's
mean,
discuss that one.
you are who you are. I remember. Do you remember when we first met? The day
Yes,
we met, you and I were on a public debate
we were.
when Trump made that awful statement about Africa, and
One,
you and I were attacking him, saying that Africa is not that word country.
yeah,
And we won, didn't we?
we did win.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And when we met on the day, I was thinking, oh my goodness, she looks awfully young. Um, and will she be able to kind of go with me on this thing? Of course, you were absolutely smashing. You were absolutely fantastic. But
Thank
women encounter all kinds of stereotypes,
you.
unfortunate and unfair stereotypes. How do you deal with all of that in Africa and here in the UK as well? I mean, it's everywhere.
Yes, it is everywhere. And it's something that I think you kind of, or I've had to kind of navigate around, and a lot of women have to.
Mm,
So one of the main advantages is the business is e-commerce. So as I said, I create the website, I do the
right,
social media. So sometimes
right,
people don't know who is behind the brand initially. So you
right.
can kind of go through a number of different barriers
Mm,
because everything is online.
mm, mm,
Physically in the country, it is, my negotiation skills have had to improve, things
mm.
like that. I can be quoted a price, and I know that it's like four times what I should be
Well, of course,
quoted.
you come from England.
Exactly, and also because I have an accent, I probably look slightly different,
Sure,
but that's
sure.
really about understand. Like, I think coming to, well, for me, Kenya or just anywhere within Africa, it's a learning experience. Like, I
Right.
haven't come here with the expectation that I have this system, I have the process, and everything needs to work. I need to understand how things work on the continent as well, and I think that is
Absolutely. Yeah.
very important. So even when I met my current artisans who are in Kibera, I think they were initially quite surprised that I wanted to come and see the workshop, because they were like, wow, because Kibera is the biggest slum on the continent,
Really,
the
really.
biggest
Yeah.
slum on the continent. So there is, like, the hustle is very real. But do you know what is very inspiring is that it's just full of solutionists.
Really.
It's full of people who get the job done.
Hmm.
So small experiences like that, then
Mm,
people gain a bit more confidence in you, and
hmm.
not want to have conversations, share some of the work that I've done, but not in a look at me, I am this amazing person. It's like, okay, let's collaborate. How can we help each other?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that I think is a
Sounds
lot more.
like it sounds like a conversation about respect. You actually have to respect the people you're working with.
Exactly. I think that stands for everything, to be honest.
Yeah. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. So, in terms of the role of your African ethnicity in your success, what part has that played?
So I would say really the whole inspiration behind everything. So I've always,
Mhm.
born and raised in the UK, went to school, university, have all my jobs in the UK. I came to nursery 1 and 2 in Kenya, but that was probably between the age of 3 and 5. So what role has my ethnicity played? The inspiration, I think I come to Kenya, as I said, more or less every year, but I can always see opportunities. Things run differently. Like there are, I think even my mind switches of, okay, you're in Kenya, this is how you need to think, this is how you need to operate. So just seeing the opportunities, and also Africa is a continent where the youth population are the majority, right? So just understanding that, although yes, although there is a huge need and there is a level of poverty, etc., which is always publicized, like in the media, there's actually a number of opportunities, and I think a lot of the young people do want to be a part of using their creativity. Like I think young people are quite similar across the globe, right? We have ideas, we have skills, we have dreams, and it's just about being able to kind of piece those all together. My grandma used to have a shop. She used to have a restaurant. So I think even from a young age, kind of seeing that, I used to go to her shop after school, after nursery, help with some of her orders or help with some of her customers. And I think just being really immersed in those kind of environments was just very inspiring. So
how good? No, sorry, carry on.
So in terms of what role has it played, it's honestly been everything. Because it just allows me to think in a different way. Even right now, we're in the middle of pandemic. It's really cold in London. It's raining. I'm here in Kenya. Weather's amazing. You can probably hear the birds chirping in the background. So it gives me the opportunity to kind of amalgamate all of my different worlds.
How good's your language? How good's your Swahili?
It's improving. So I can understand Swahili. My speaking is something that I'm still kind of working on, but something I'm very keen. Like, as I said, I'm here to make sure that I'm not like, oh, hey, I'm the English girl or the British girl. Like, I really want to be a part of the community. So I do try and speak as much Swahili when I am out here. I would say it's improving. I can get around quite easily.
Sure. Okay. So the other thing comes out now that the importance of your social mission to give back. Obviously, you're dealing with people whose experience of life has been very different, whose circumstances of life have many more challenges. How important is the social mission you've got? In fact, can your business thrive without the social mission you have as well? Your view.
So can it thrive with? I don't think so. Okay, so for a number of reasons. Personally, like running a business is not a very easy thing, and so you need motivation. And so even when I hear the stories, when I connect with these communities, just understanding that the business is having an impact does motivate me. So that's from a personal perspective. And then even from our customer perspective, I would say that the reason a lot of our customers are loyal to the brand and identify with the Kaleidoscope Beauty mission is because of the story. It's because they understand the communities that the jewelry is being made. They understand, how we're connecting across the globe as well. So I don't think it could thrive. I mean, it's definitely possible. There's people that have all sorts of jewelry businesses, accessories, but I think it becomes a lot more compelling, more engaging with the social aspect, especially in the middle of a pandemic. I think that's become a lot more relevant. People know where their products are being made, where they're being sourced, who it's being made by. It's not just about getting the cheapest products anymore. It's just about doing your part for society.
Forbes picked that up in their coverage of you, didn't they? Forbes magazine.
Yes, they did. That was picked up.
It gives another fletch to your bow. It just makes you more relevant, doesn't it?
Honestly, and that was while I was still working full time. I remember reaching out. I had a spreadsheet of people I'd reach out to, found their contacts on Twitter, and would send emails. What had there not been, say, the social element, the philanthropic mission? Would that article still have been posted? I'm not too sure. It would.
I don't think you probably not. Well, not to the length and breadth that it was. So, unfortunately, it's time for us to more or less wrap up.
Yes.
How do people get in touch with your brand, your company, and so on? Are you on Instagram and are you on Twitter?
Yes. Okay. So the brand is on both. So on Instagram, it is Kaleidoscope Beauty Ltd.
Yeah.
That's Kaleidoscope Beauty Ltd.
Got
And
it.
on Twitter, it's Kaleidoscope BE2. So I'm in the process of changing that. But Kaleidoscope
Got it.
BE2.
Got it.
Personally, you can find me on everything. I'm on Twitter, Blessed Umu. So BEBLESSEDUMU.
Yeah.
And that's the same for Twitter. And then if you want to connect with me via Facebook, I'm Umutoni Thuku-Benzinge. And then I'm also available. You can send emails as well to info@kaleidoscopebeauty.co.uk, or
Terrific.
our website www.kaleidoscopebeauty.co.uk.
That's fabulous. So, do you know what I'm going to do? Let's put these details beneath this
Bottom.
video so that people can hook up with you if they want to. Finally, Umu, what advice would you give the greenhorn, the inspirational, the bright, the bubbly young startup that you were 2 years ago? What advice would you give them now based on what you've learned?
Do you know, the advice I would give is to think big, dream big, like
Yes.
have a vision, because you know there will always be distractions, there will always be challenges, but if you
Right.
just dream big, then you're always thinking like 5 steps ahead. I think being an
Got it.
entrepreneur is about being a solutionist. Like you
Yeah.
will face obstacles, but you find a way to
Mm-hmm.
get past.
Mm-hmm.
Think big in terms of sales, in terms of revenue, in terms of community, in terms of impact. Because I don't think Kaleidoscope Beauty will be the be all and end all. I don't think it's the only business. I know it's not the only business I'm ever going to have. You'll be hearing more from us very soon.
That's fantastic. Umu, look, it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you. And thank you so much for joining me from Nairobi. Enjoy the rest of your trip. And when you come back to London, we must hook up again. Okay.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me on your show and for all the amazing stuff
Yeah,
that
my
you're
pleasure.
doing. Thank you. Having a great day.
Awesome.
Bye.
Cheers. Same to you. Bye, bye, bye.
Bye.